This week, we got a special guest in the house. I've been waiting 2 months, two months for this thing sitting in customs.
Cameraland.
I'm sure you can blame things on COVID and everything, but come on, 2 months. But I have it. Special guest, the RE Auto Topcor 58 1.4 Legendary. So let's get into this baby. We're gonna look at her up close and personal. Check her out a little bit of sampling here and there, and try to discover why this is one of the most favored lenses among the vintage photography experts out there. So come along, let's take a look at it.
Here I am, Vietnam.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. Okay, baby, here we are this week talking about the long-awaited lens that I've discussed in a couple other videos. I've kind of lusted after it for quite a while, and bite the bullet and bought the thing. But getting it from the other side of the world to here was not that big a deal. I mean, it had to go through parts of the US, off over into Europe, landed in Germany, went through Germany, off over to here to Vietnam, and then sat in customs for 2 months. I called, I wrote emails, tried to get this thing going. They dragged their feet, dragged their feet, dragged their feet. Finally, I got my lens. So what are we talking about? Right there. This is the RE Auto Topcor 58 1.4. I have it mounted on my Sony A7R II. Comes with an Exacta to NEX mount. That was the thing, if you watch my RE Auto Topcor video where I looked at his little brother, the 1.8, 58 1.8, the 35 millimeter and the 135. But this is the one where all the fame and glory comes from. Now there's arguments out there that the 1.8 actually can be better at certain elements of the rendition.
Get the fuck out of here.
But the 1.4 is a 1.4. I mean, it's got that wide open aperture, bam, bokeh. Again, so let's, back up a little bit and we talk about where it comes from. Again, Topcor was made by a company, their product line was Topcon. So they created their own SLRs and they developed the lens here, the line of RE Auto Topcor lenses. Now there's different grades of Topcors that are out there. The UVs, you'll see lots of those on eBay. UV Topcor, Auto Topcor, or just plain Auto Topcors. But the RE is what you're looking for. That's the Pro line, much better quality. So if you see one of the other ones out there, that's fine. If somebody gives them to you as a gift or something, receive them kindly, because it's nice to accept gifts from people without getting too disgruntled and saying, I wanted an RE, why'd you give me a UV? But the RE, if you had a choice, the RE is the one you want. So anyway, they were produced in 1963, so they're older than I am, which is, there's a lot of things that are older than I am, but still, I'm also a 60s child. So, again, they were made by Tokyo Kogaku Kikai Keke.
Awesome.
What all that means, I don't know. I don't speak much Japanese. I know a couple terms here and there, but I don't know what that is. But anyway, they were actually built by others as well. Cosina created the same lens, but in an M42 mount. And later, again, Cosina created the lens. Obviously, because they had the design and everything else. They, whether you know it or not, today produced the Voigtlander line. And so they created a Voigtlander 58 1.4. but in a Nikon F mount. And you can hey, our favorite guy, Ken Wheeler, the angry photographer, loves the Voigtlander 58 1.4. And here's what he has to say about that.
Basically, the 58 millimeter f1.4. This is nothing other than a rebranded Topcor Tokyo Kogaku lens, which is also the 58 millimeter f1.4. Now, you say both of these are the same lens.
So, again, it's a great lens. I've had it a few days and been toying, with it with my favorite son. I only have one son. My favorite model, my son Dylan. Aww. And so we'll show you some shots of him a little later. But anyway, so it's getting into the specs of this thing. It's 7 elements in 5 groups, 6 aperture blades. So again, wide open. The bokeh is nice and circular in its formation, but if you start stopping down, you'll get the hexagon looking bokeh, like nut and bolt looking bokeh, and some people are okay with that, some people are not. I like to shoot everything wide open just because I can, and this is sharp, pretty sharp, wide open, at least in the center. But it's a portrait lens, like a lot of the lenses that I have up here. They're great for portraits because that's what I shoot anyway. I'm not a landscape shooter. If I would, shoot landscape, I'm not going to use a 58 anyway. I'd use a 35 or a 28 or a 21 or something like that. But anyway, again, being a portrait lens, it's great center sharpness, and then the transition between your subject and the background is a nice smooth transition. It falls off quite nicely. So the 6 aperture blades, again, great for wide open, but not so great for stop down unless you're a fan of the nut and bolt looking bokeh. Its close focus distance is 45 centimeters or 1.48 feet, if you convert that to the imperial system. It's 300 grams, so it's not light, but it's not that heavy either. It's 10.6 ounces. One of the things that stands out as a 50-ish, I'll post a picture of it so you can get a closer look. So I don't want to jump up and show you this real close, but the front element is pretty big on this thing. It's 62 millimeter, the filter size. I have a lens hood that I just bought as well to screw on the end, and it's great. Obviously, lens hoods are valuable when you're outside shooting, keeping stray light and whatnot, which is one of the things that can happen with this particular lens because that front element is so big. You're shooting wide open. You have the possibility of ghosting happening, so light bouncing around inside the barrel, leaving various artifacts on your final the rendition of your photograph as well. So the hood can come in handy for that, but hoods, in my opinion anyway, are best serviced to you, the photographer, as protection for that front element. You bang into things, you'd much rather ding up this $10 metal hood than you would, your $400 lens. So, and again, these can range in prices, again, from $300 or so up to, even $1,000, depending on the condition. And each year they tend to get higher and higher. 10 years ago, you could probably buy this for $50. But, they get popular, they come and go, fads come and go. But right now, vintage lenses are, again, in it's a trend, so they're in fashion. So they're more expensive, and so that's the thing with your vintage lenses is they come and go. But anyway, the bokeh is great, wide open, but it's actually smoother. It could be, depending again on what the background is, it could be a tad bit busy, but you stop down to f2 or f2.8, and you're again likely then to notice that the bokeh really smooths itself out. And just like all vintage lenses, you get to 4, 5.6, f8, everything, and it's again just as razor sharp as today's lenses are. But wide open, of course, they're going to be a little softer if you compare to today's lenses. But as I just said, it's a great portrait lens, and with a portrait lens, you don't want razor sharp, counting the pores on the nose and things like that. You'd like a little softer rendition. Thinking about lenses that are similar, in the past people have compared the Minolta multi-coated 58 1.2 and 1.4 Topcor, the little brother to this one. And maybe in another video I'll compare those guys to this, but this video is focused on this one because again I just got it and I'm kind of excited to use it. I was happy with the first few shots I got of this with again with Dylan, so I'll show you what that's like. But first, as usual, just to show sharpness, I'll focus in on the end of I have a Canon M50 that I use for my YouTube videos, so I'll focus in on the end of the 15 to 45 EOS M lens that comes with the camera. Try to focus in on the letters, on the faceplate, which I do in all my videos as well, just to show you, what this lens looks like wide open. As I said, everything's always wide open to me because I want to show basically the extreme, and everything else is just kind of, you don't need me to show you. You just know that anytime you stop down lenses, they get better or they get sharper. And everybody's always sharp, 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 sharp. We need to know how sharp it is. Whereas for me, sharpness is okay, but color and the out of focus background and again the overall sensation you get by looking at the final photo is more important to me than sharpness. So, but that's me. Maybe for you, sharpness is something that is the most important thing in the world to you. But anyway, one of the things about this lens too is it has a reputation for being a little challenging to focus because it has such a shallow depth of field, and the focus throw on this to go from well, let me show you, to go from infinity, which is here, all the way to close focus. It's had basically three full turns to 3 and a bit to come back. So that's a pretty long focus throw, isn't it? You got a lot of room to play. Some people like that. Some people say that, well, with a long focus throw, you can really fine tune in your, the edge of focus that you get. Others, just don't like the extra turn, especially if your subjects are moving or whatever. But as I said, this is ideally a portrait lens anyway. So during portraiture, I don't know what your subjects are doing, bouncing around and running around, except for my little subject, because he's a 1-year-old and it's pretty tough to get him to stand or sit in one place. So he is moving around a lot, so I get a lot of hits and misses when I'm taking shots of him. But hey, for those out there who have a 1-year-old, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So let me get a shot anyway, the end of the lens here, so you know what I see through the lens. So as usual, I'll show you this, and then I'll tag in some shots of Dylan and any other samples that I figure I could show you too. I usually zip around looking for other other samples to kind of show off the lens. But anyway, here is the end of the barrel. 1, 2, 3. What else can I say? You know, the range goes from 1.4 to f16. Obviously clicked aperture ring. So for, again, with that long focus throw, you know, the videographers out there may actually like that. You know, for, again, following, you know, a subject moving towards the camera, away from the camera and whatnot. You know, it's good in that regard. The clicked aperture ring, not so much, but I've taken lenses apart before. It's not that difficult to, you know, get at the aperture ring, take that off and get rid of that little ball bearing inside, which is creating the clicks, and then you have a clickless aperture ring. So it's, again, it's not rocket science. That's pretty much all I wanted to say, you know, about this lens. Wanted to introduce it to you. Tell you that it's been something I've lusted after for quite a while.
To emerge with something completely different.
And now for something completely different.
I've heard a lot about it. I've read, you know, a number of things about it. Very positive, positive take from most people who've either used it or owned it. There's a few other videos out on the internet, YouTube, that talk about it as well. Not that many, which is kind of odd because it is such a good lens. You think more people would be talking about it, but apparently not. So that is my Auto RE. Remember, RE is the Pro line. That's the one if you're going to buy one of these, which I highly recommend you do.
9 doctors out of 10.
Because it's an excellent lens. There's not a lot of them out there on eBay because of the fact that they're a pretty awesome lens. But if you get the opportunity to get one at a reasonable price, I would do so. For me, I got this one at $300 because the seller showed a slight little ding on the rear element. So I was kind of paranoid about that when I saw it. I thought, oh wow, maybe I'm gonna, have an issue with that scratch, because it looked more drastic on the photos that were on eBay. But once I got it, I actually have a hard time even finding it. So I guess you have to hit the light just right to catch where that little scratch is. But really, when I look at the results of the photos I take with this, you can't see anything at all on that. But I think that's why I got it that cheap, because most of the other 58 1.4s that are on eBay are nowhere near that. They're closer to $700, $800, $900 type thing. So, but if you can get a good deal on one, go for it. It's well worth the price of admission, so to speak. So again, that's my take on the RE Auto Topcor 58 1.4. So that was it for Camera Talk with Dr. Scott, brought to you by Modesty Photography. And of course, I'd like you to, if you appreciated this video, for one, leave a comment below. Tell me how much you liked it or how much you hated it. Tell me if you have experience with this lens as well, or any similarities between this one and, like I said, the Minolta Rocar 58, it's a 1.2 or 1.4, either one. Or if you have other Topcors that you would like to talk about, that would be great as well. But I'd also appreciate it if you could help me out and expose my my channel to the world. But I can only get that if I get you to subscribe. And subscribe, if you could do it twice. And the last time, subscribe. And give me a thumbs up. And here's the thumbs up, girls, to go along with that. And lastly, really all I want to say is, again, another little kickback I get is by introducing you to my, that I use, not that one, that's from my university. But I use software for my photo editing, and it's called Luminar. It's just as good as Lightroom and Photoshop and Capture One and all these other ones out there. It's got lots of bells and whistles, but it's economical. It's like $67 or so. But if you click below the link that I'm providing down in the description, it saves you $10. So it's only $57, and it's yours for life. You upgrade as they upgrade. And if they have some super major upgrade with a whole different version, then of course they'll charge you more, but you get a discount as a previous owner. But really, you don't have to upgrade at all. You just keep what they have out there, and it's yours for life. Do what you want with it, kind of thing. I like that. There's no monthly payments or anything else. So that's my little kick on Luminar. It's worth checking out. And again, that $10 that you save comes back to me, so I get a little kickback from that too. Yabba dabba doo. Anyway, so that's it for this week. Again, this was the RE Auto Topcor 58 1.4. Get out there and buy one if you can, or borrow one from a friend. They're well worth it. So why don't you come on back next week? We'll check out some other lenses, or something to do with photography anyway. Because again, here at Modesty Photography, we're out to save you money. We're out to make things easier for you, give you little tips and tricks, and again, listen to me because I'm a university teacher, so I can just babble on like nonstop, blah 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 blah. My wife will tell you that, but or she'll confirm it anyway. But anyway, thanks for dropping by. Make sure you stay safe out there. There's still plenty of crisis going on in the world with COVID here, COVID there. Whether you get your vaccine. Or vaccination, I should say, get the 1 and 2 shot type thing. You may be an anti-vaxxer and, I don't believe in that. But, hey, it's nothing to do with believing anything. It's not a religion. It's science. It works anyway. So get your vaccine. So stay safe if you're not vaccinated. Like here in Vietnam, we don't have vaccination going on yet. I'm kind of, waiting for that to happen. But wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Social distancing, wear your mask, and all that good stuff, because you never know. You might get COVID and get over it, no problem, or you might get COVID and it'll kill you. So why take that risk anyway? So come on back next week. Again, this was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott, and we will see you in the next episode. Okay, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Here I am, Vietnam.